This is Sky Blues Extra.
Hello and welcome to Sky Blues Extra Live with me, David, and I'm joined as usual by Tom also. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm not too bad, but obviously a bit disappointed with the result.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a bit tough, this championship malarkey, isn't it?
It is. It's a far cry from last season when we were leaving the grounds for a start and leaving them happy. But the Sky Blues have fallen victims to Blackburn Rovers at home. 4-0 probably shows more than what the game is with that early red card, which I'm sure we're going to go into a little bit more. But do get your comments in on the Sky Blues Extra Live. All you need to do is drop them in whatever platform you're watching us from. Let us know how you feel about the game. Let us know what you thought of the red card. What about the defending for some of the goals? Down to 10 men, it's very difficult. Let us know what you do now if you're Mark Robins going forward with so many players absent and another tough fixture on the road away to Middlesbrough. But kicking off, Tom, with that red card decision, did you feel like it was a red card?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of chat, isn't there, about the double jeopardy rule. I think if I have it correctly, that you have to intend to play the ball. And if we're being honest, Michael Rose wasn't really anywhere near the ball, and he stuck his arms out and he's kind of pushed the player. The player goes down quite easily, but when you're in the box like that and you put your arms out and the player goes down, you haven't really. There's nowhere to hide. So it's a tough one to take. It's a really tough one to take. But I think by the letter of the law, it's probably the right decision. Yeah, what do you think?
It was a proper shove, if I'm honest. It really was, and this we did have the benefit of some replays at half time, and they'd actually slowed one of them down, and
his arms right out on him.
His arms are completely stretched out. It's a proper shove, and it's stopped a goal scoring opportunity, hasn't it? So I think that's the way that the referee's seen it, and of course they've put the penalty in, and that's really made it a tough uphill climb. Michael Large, a regular commenter on the Sky Blues Extra Live, and we appreciate all of the comments that you send in. It was a red. If it was the other way round, we'd be screaming. I think he's absolutely right,
isn't it? Yeah, I mean, if it happened to us, we'd be screaming for a red. It's one of those. It's just really tough to take when it's like, I think it was the 13th or 14th minute.
Yeah,
that early on in the game, we were already a bit up against it, I felt, in the game. We started and they had a lot of possession, like it seems like it is every week, right?
Yeah.
But then we have that golden chance, and it's just frustrating. We're starting to get a little bit of a foothold in the game, and then that happens. So it's a tough one to take.
Yeah, and it's hard to know, isn't it, how the game would have panned out, because we just haven't got that hindsight. But dropping a red card and going down to 10 men that early on, and obviously conceding, it's going to be an uphill climb, and it doesn't really give us again a chance or a glimpse to know what the Sky Blues can do again in this league. We obviously saw a great result against QPR, but a lot of the other games have been perhaps tarnished by perhaps early naive goals and red cards.
Yeah, exactly. But I think even despite the red card, I think today was going to be a tough game, and I think Blackburn were a really good side, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know what you thought, but I thought Harvey Elliott and who's the other guy who got the couple of their assists?
Douglas,
his name just escaped me now.
Was okay, wasn't he? I can't think of who you're talking about, but they all fizzed it about, didn't they?
I thought they were a really decent team, to be honest with you. I think even without the red card, they probably would have beaten us. I mean, perhaps we would have avoided a couple of those goals where they've whipped it across the box and we just didn't even have enough defenders to get there. And Elliott's kind of getting in there and scoring. So I think it was always a pretty tough game anyway, and we've just shot ourselves in the foot and made it a lot harder for ourselves with that sending off.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's just bring up the stats. They don't make for great viewing, if I'm honest, but we may as well bring them up. And
it was Brereton, by the way, who I was talking about. He's a good player. He's a bit of a handful, I thought.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, the key stat there for 4-0. But you just got to look at those possession stats. But for me, again, it's those attempts. Take away ours, that's fine, because it was always going to be hard to get up the pitch and get out into their final third. But 24 attempts and 9 on target. It's shooting practice, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I'm trying to even think what our attempts were. We had that Godden one, didn't we? That was a decent attempt.
Yeah, Giles.
Yeah, but like you say, they had so many. I mean, Holtby will be gutted he didn't score today, won't he? For them.
Yeah.
I mean, he had so many chances today, like decent chances as well. I felt like every time the ball came in the box, we don't seem to be able to attack like headers, and they were just getting to the ball first before us, which isn't like us. But having said that, when you're down to 10 men, then without an additional defender in there, it's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got a couple of people waiting to come on the line, actually. So we're going to bring Ian in, first of all, to find out what he thought about today's fixture and perhaps what he'll be doing going forward if he was Mark Robins. Ian, how are you doing, mate?
I'm not bad, yourselves?
Yeah, obviously, under the circumstances. Just a brief sort of overview of today, Ian. How did you feel about the red card to start off with?
I put on the City Fans Forum page, I was just like, like if we make a mistake in work, you sort of step back and you think, what was I doing? And I just look at, Rose had already made the mistake by the ball going over his head, just poor positioning. But then the fact to actually turn around, I mean, just let him score. I know that his job is to stop the ball going in or getting near the keeper and going in the goal. But just let him score. At least we've got a fighting chance with 11 men. The problem is it's naivety. Players that haven't played at this level, they're cute. I mean, you look at the Bournemouth game, that centre-back that got Hamer sent off. He should have been sent off himself. But at the same point, it's silly, naive mistakes that we're making week in, week out. And this is the thing. I mean, everyone will say, they're established, Blackburn and all that. I think they finished about 10th or 12th this last season. They're a bang average team. They were a Premier Division team, just like we were. And my opinions are, I mean, today's game was just a pure, stark reality of we're a League One squad with a couple of spatterings of players which could maybe make it at this level. But I mean, my thoughts are it's down to the recruitment this summer. Hamer looks like he might be a player if we can calm down his sort of his hot streak. But I mean, Harvey Elliott's on $7,000 a week. Why aren't we loaning players like that? I mean, Blackburn aren't as big a team as us. But then again, we aren't a big team. We're not the team from the 1990s when we're in the Premier Division. I'm not blaming the manager. I would never say get the manager out. I'd never have it, whether it would have been Mickey Adams or whoever else that's been in there.
Of course.
I like Presley when he's in as well. It's just one of them. I just think if I can see these things and I'm not qualified to see these things, why aren't the people that are within the club, and it could be finances and things like that, they could be paying £2 million a year.
We've been quite unlucky though, Ian, have we, with injuries and COVID for Walker. I mean, Mark Robins has made some great signings. He brought in Gus Hamer, who's obviously sadly had a red card, and that means that he hasn't played for 3 games. Walker has had COVID. You've got Marcel Hilsner that's got issues that he's had with his lungs, of course, which you would have thought hopefully they would have been caught in the medical. Trying to think of other players that, Sam McCallum has come back.
Jody Jones getting his injury.
A really good player. Jody Jones, of course, a big loss and probably would have offered a lot in these different games. So Mark Robins has been unlucky, has he?
Well, you look. I'll name 3 signings that you've just listed there: Hilsner, Costa, McCallum. So none of them 3 have played Championship level football. They've never played. Well, 2 of the 3 have never played English football. 2 of them have come in. One of them's got asthma and breathing difficulties, which, again, like you said, should have been picked up through a medical. DaCosta's come in the door, and within days, he's picked up a serious injury that's put him out for 3 months of the season. It's, again, not the manager. I'm not turning on the people that are bringing in these players, because hopefully they are a better ability of what we've already got. But to bring in Sam McCallum when we already had Mason and also Giles might have been a good idea, but Norwich let him go out on loan because he wasn't good enough for them in the Championship. So again, it's a loan sign where I thought, are we signing this player for the sake of signing him?
Sure.
When we could have maybe spent, I mean, he's probably on 6-7 grand a week at Norwich. He's not going to be on a huge amount, but we could have invested in, I don't know, a journeyman like Chris Martin at Derby. Look at how he changed the game against them.
Yeah, we've got a couple of different,
not Derby,
couple of more
Martin
viewers
when
on
he-
actually,
Martin when he
Ian.
came
So
in
what I
for
want to
Bristol.
do is grab from you a big game now Tuesday night. It's going to be difficult. Obviously, we've got Ostergaard that can probably slot in there. What are you doing with the team, and are you keeping the same formation we've got on one up top?
I think the problem that you've got is we're coming up against another big striker in this division in Assembalonga.
Yeah,
Do you keep it at the same sort of layout, same formation? Possibly for this game. You've got to look to a game against the likes of a Wickham or a Luton or someone like that, where we've got to look at a different system. Godden looks lost up top. Biamu in the 25 minutes or however long it was that he played made a little bit of a difference. Castaner was off the pace for obvious reasons. Ostergaard's got to come in. Did I say Ostergaard?
yeah.
Castaner came in. Sorry, Castaner came in and made a small impression, but again didn't look fit. Ostergaard will slip in for Rose. We can't really change the team much apart from Hamer coming in. I'd
Yeah.
like to see
Who
two up
drops
top.
out? Who drops out for you if Hamer comes in?
Probably Sheaf, unfortunately. I thought he had an average game today. He had a good game last week.
Yeah,
He's
But-
been consistent, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And I think we need Kelly in there. He just steadies the ship a little bit. But thank you for your time today, guys.
no worries, Ian.
Mhm.
Look, thanks for coming on. Do join us again, and
No worries.
we've got a couple of other people actually waiting to come on there, Tom. But I'm just going to bring in a comment from Mick here. Just look at the match fitness. They will struggle a bit this season. When we did Coventry, Wickham, Rotherham finished last season to reach the Championship. A couple of weeks before the new season, we've obviously spoke to some players, haven't we, actually, Tom, and asked about whether we think that would have been a difference. How do you think about that? We're not players, of course, although, well, some very amateur level. But what do you think about that? Do you think it would have been better for us to just gone straight through, or similar to the Championship sides, or do you think that break actually done us the world of good?
I think it impacted us actually. I think playing all the way through is a better option. I just think that extra bit of match sharpness, fitness. You think, how long would the players have had off during lockdown? What, 3 or 4 months or something?
Yeah.
And then no competitive football. Obviously a longer pre-season, but I don't always think that's a good thing. I think the more games you can have, and pre-season games aren't always the best for that either. The more actual competitive games you can have in you, the better. So I think a lot of these Championship teams have, they haven't really had a break at all. They've kind of just carried on from where they left off. So I think it's starting to show a little bit our sort of match fitness, and just the sharpness of these teams we're playing is quite clear to see.
Yeah, and just as a sort of enter into the first few games of the season, still very early doors, but with the start that the Sky Blues have made, there's been obviously a lot of unluck, and we just talked about injuries there. But are you concerned for the Sky Blues now in the Championship, or not being doom and gloom, just being honest? As a realist, do you think that the Sky Blues have got a bit of a mountain to climb to stay in this division?
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I think when we first got promoted, we probably thought it's going to be really tough, and we all said we'd take 21st all day long, kind of thing, and we'd be happy with that, just staying in the division by whatever means. I think then there was a lot of optimism that built up over the summer with some of the signings, and we maybe got a little bit excited because we thought perhaps we can be the surprise package, and a few pundits were saying things like that. So people started talking about mid-table or sneaking the playoffs and things like that. So I think our expectations went up a little bit, and we're probably back to where we originally thought in terms of the Championship being a very tough league. What I will say is we've had a very tough start. We have to remember that. I mean, apart from Barnsley and QPR, which the games we obviously picked up some points in, I think every other game has been very tough, and you wouldn't have expected us to really get a result. You might say we'd nick a point at Bristol away, or obviously we got a point against Swansea, which is great, but apart from that, we weren't really expecting to be winning these games. I don't think, to be honest with
Yeah.
you, it just puts a bit of pressure on those sort of so-called easier games when we've got Wickham and Luton and whatever. But the pressure, I mean, they're going to be fighting for their lives as well.
Yeah, of course.
So
You've got Sheffield Wednesday. I haven't seen the result. It was 0-0 when I last looked, and I'm not sure if they've picked up more than the point today. So
yeah,
it'd
but
be
they've
interesting to
started
see.
well as well. They've made a good start. You know, starting on, was it -12, and I think they've nearly wiped out there. They lost
They
1-0
pretty
to
much
Luton,
have,
actually.
haven't they? They
They
did
lost
lose,
1-0
did
to
they?
Luton, but at the same time they're on -4, and Barnsley are on 4 points just outside there. So a 2 or 3 more positive results, and they'll be out the bottom 3. So yeah, it is tough, but we will have easier games, and we have more luck on our side to pick up some results. I'm sure of that.
We've got another guest, Tom. I'm going to bring Joey in now to see what he thought about the game. I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions for him there.
Evening, lads. How are we doing?
Evening, Joey.
Evening, Joey.
Yeah, a bit of another wake-up call, really. Just like Bournemouth the other week and Brentford as well. I think the game's coming thick and fast, and seeing us concede another 4 today, not great.
What did you make of Mark Robbins' lineup, Joey?
I think it was expected, but my issue is that I don't think he's adapting to each game. He's sticking with that same formation. He's sticking with O'Hare and Allen, who I still think are continuing to be ineffective. I want him to change depending on who we're playing. And I know today with the red card, that completely threw it out the window. We don't know what would have happened if it had stayed at 11 men. But we knew we were playing against Armstrong today.
Yeah.
Maybe possibly could have played Pask instead of McFadzean because he'd had the pace there.
Yeah, we've just brought the starting lineup actually, Joey, on the screen, and a couple of surprises on the bench there. And it was probably a shame that Will Bapaga didn't get any minutes today, because if we say this all the time on Sky Blues Extra Live, but if he's fit and available on the bench, then you'd expect them to be able to play. So, but yeah, it was interesting bench from Mark Robbins, but like you say, the formation didn't change, did it?
No, not at all. And I think maybe on Tuesday we might finally see that change because of the fact that Rose is out. Possibly we'll go for 4 at the back or play an extra striker, or if Walker's back, and obviously Hamer's back as well. So I think we will see some changes. But I do look at Allen and O'Hare, and I think how effective have they been across the course of the season so far? O'Hare obviously scored that goal against QPR, but I just think that they're looking like they're almost shadows on the pitch. It's like we're almost playing with 10 men before we've even started because they are so ineffective at the moment. So with Hamer coming back, does he keep Sheaf and Kelly in and play quite defensive and drop O'Hare rather than dropping, I don't know, Sheaf or Kelly when he comes back on Tuesday?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? And a combination we haven't really seen yet is Kelly and Hamer in the same team. Because obviously, I think with Kelly out at the start of the season, Hamer did have to sort of sit in a bit deeper, didn't he? But I think it'd be interesting to see if with them in the same team, if it gives Hamer a little bit more freedom to go forwards. Because I think he has that ability, and he's got a decent shot on him. He can obviously deliver a decent ball. So I think to give Hamer a bit more freedom to go forwards could be an interesting one.
Yeah, definitely, and I agree. I'd like to see him go further forward, but then at the same time, I think, as you're saying about Bagpaga and possibly Castanea, Jabello, someone like that, is there going to be an opportunity for them to have a start at some point and possibly change it? I mean, could we play with wingers? Could we? I think we're just lacking a lot of pace. There's no pace from O'Hare. Allen's slow. Godden is painfully slow as well. And other than the fullbacks, when we're coming forward, there's just absolutely nothing. And when we're going long, more long with Morosi at the moment, if Godden does flick it on, there's nobody around him to just pick up the ball and run on.
Because I think, I don't know what you thought, Joey, but I thought Godden's hold-up play was all right today. I think especially in the first before the sending off at least, he was holding the ball up actually really well. But like you say, he doesn't always have an outlet of where he can play the ball and then make a run. So like you say, we are playing the ball a bit longer than usual. So He doesn't get much support around him, does he?
No, not at all. No, and I think he's doing a decent job. And before the,
Yeah.
the red card, he had a couple of good turns and he hit the post. But he's so isolated. I'd hate to do his job where he's up there against some good.
He looks
cool,
a frustrated figure at times, Joey. He's not got any support, has he, up there? Do you think it would work if he had someone to partner?
Possibly, but then you lose the extra man in midfield, which I think did work on Tuesday against Swansea. I think we outnumbered them in the middle, which is why we sort of won that battle. But as I was saying with Allen and O'Hare, with them being so ineffective, it's almost worth just having that second striker because you're not really going to lose out as such. So I think Walker's obviously the man because he's the big money signing. He's played a handful of games in the Championship. But to be fair to Max as well today, I thought there's a few decent touches there. And the thing you'll get from him as well is the power and arguably a little bit more pace than Godden, but he will give it 100%. So I think
Tuesday night, Joey. Tuesday night, another big fixture for the Sky Blues, and we've got to start getting points on the board, of course, and it doesn't get any easier. What would your prediction be for that game? It's another tough one, isn't it?
Oh, I think we've just got to go there and just expect little, but don't turn up losing the game before we've even started. I think that's the negativity going into it. And I know we've got the lowest budget. I know Robbins keeps harking back to that, but I don't know if that's affecting the players. Are they going into the game thinking, oh, they're better than us? That's it. That's what I don't want us to do. I want us to turn up and think we can pick up points. If they might be better. They might have multi-million-pound players on their team, but there's players in our team that at the same time can step up and I think perform better than what they've been doing this season. So let's go there, full of confidence, go for it. If we lose, we lose, but don't perform in a way that's just, giving up early on.
Joey, brilliant to have you on as usual and talking sense, of course. Hopefully the game against Middlesbrough will have a positive outcome, and I'm sure we'll speak to you soon. Good to have Joey on. We've got a couple of more guests actually, Tom, waiting, but I'm going to bring some comments in now. One from a regular contributor, Glenn. He's saying, going to throw it out, a couple of left field suggestions. Hamer in at right wing back on Tuesday with Shafe into the back three. Play Allen at Kelly as a midfield two and give Papaga Giles a go alongside O'Hare or maybe even Castaner. So a bit like a squad you'd see from a midweek game on FIFA when you're in a career mode. But what do you make of that? Would you like to see
interesting
Amer back at right wing back?
I'm not sure.
He's played at the back, hasn't he?
I'm not sure about Amer at right wing back, but I mean, we have floated the idea about Giles playing a bit further forward, and because I think, if I'm not mistaken, when he played for Shrewsbury last season, first half of last season, I'm pretty sure he played on the left wing, quite high up, maybe as part of a three at the top. I think that's when he got an assist against us, actually. So he can play that sort of further forward role, and it'd be interesting to see. My issue with Giles is that he doesn't sort of beat his man, really. He seems to
crosses from deep, doesn't he?
Yeah, crosses from deep, and if you compare him to someone like Dabo, where Dabo can play those balls from deep very, very well, but he can also take his man on. He can come back into the middle a little bit if he needs to. So I just think, he can be a bit frustrating, but maybe playing a bit further forward, it'd be better for him. So
what about this from Danny? We need to go 3-5-2. We've spoke already about how Godden looks an isolated figure up there. If we can, for me, defensively, it's a bit of a worry. Because you've got to have those wing backs, of course. They're going to be there, But
when we tried it against Brentford, we didn't have Kelly in the side, did we?
No.
So I would, if you're taking out a midfielder to put a striker in, I'd feel a lot more comfortable doing that if Kelly's in the team.
Yeah, of course. To me, it seems like a situation that's set up 3-5-2 now. You've got the three at the back. Obviously, it's got to be McFadzean, Ostergaard, and Hyam. And then obviously, I think left-sided, you go McCallum and Dabo if he's fit.
He's fit,
But same as today, perhaps if not. I'd see probably Allen dropping out, Sheaf and Kelly in that middle section, and Walker and Godden up top.
Yeah.
Could you see it any different to that?
Did you mention O'Hare then?
Yeah, of course. So O'Hare
So
being in that, yeah.
So O'Hare just behind the strikers.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see that. I mean, with Walker, it's going to be something a bit different, isn't it? I know we tried to up front against Brentford with Bakker, but it didn't really work out. I think Walker genuinely offers something a bit different. He's probably one of the most exciting players we've got at the club. So, Dean, 100% on board with that, isn't he?
Yeah. So Dean usually
for manager.
in the screen, and he's behind
he's
the screen
he's
this time.
shouting at his screen right now.
We can almost hear him through our headphones shouting that we need to change it to 3-5-2. I've got a couple of more guests actually, Tom. So I'm sure you've got some questions for Mark about the upcoming fixture and what he thinks on the formation and perhaps what went wrong today.
Oh, hi. Evening, everyone.
Evening, Mark. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Well, not great after what.
As good as you can be in this, after a loss.
Yeah. It was just. I think it was just. It was just outclassed today. I know. Obviously the sending off. Was. Completely Rose's fault, and we were completely outclassed today. We just. Completely. Just not on it at all.
What did you make of some of the defending today, Mark?
Just very poor all round, wasn't it? I mean, it just looked too easy. All their goals looked too easy. I know we're down to 10 men, but we didn't. Just to me, for them, it was a stroll in the park for me.
Yeah.
Just felt very demoralising watching that today. It was very. I mean, another game's all ifs and buts. If Godden puts that chance away before the first goal, you never know. We actually started off, funny enough, okay. Actually, before the first goal.
We've got to put that one to bed, though, haven't we, Mark? It's they've got to get back up for this fixture on Tuesday night now, haven't they? It's 4-0. It's gone, isn't it? We can't do anything about it. But they've really got to assess perhaps some of the key points from today. And I think sloppy passes was one. Did you think we gave the ball away too cheaply?
Yeah, I think predominantly we did. I actually think, going back to your point, I think having the game on Tuesday is actually a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah, of course.
If I'm Mark Robbins, I'm in the dressing room right now. I'll be,
we
I'll
go
be happy
again.
that we go again. In my reply, I don't want to wait till Saturday because you get that game out of the way and now think about Middlesbrough. I think, I think that's been the problem is, from what I'm seeing in the games, is we don't have a plan B. We play, it's what's going to happen. The goal kick, look to knock it out wide, or and try and our best hope really is Giles on the flank, crossing it to Godden and getting a goal. That's generally how we're looking to play, and I think there isn't a plan B.
What do you make of the 3-5-2 in the comments? Obviously, it's been a very popular switch. It feels early on in the season to be changing perhaps formation, for Mark Robbins to be, changing the tactics book. But what do you think about 3-5-2?
I think it's a good idea. I agree with what everyone else has been saying. I didn't really think of that, but I think we need to have that plan B. And I think 3-5-2. I think the changes I would probably make. Obviously, Hamer would come back. I think the two players. I think Allen would make way. I'm just trying to think who else I'd have in. I think Kelly would start for me.
I suppose Shipley's probably an option, possibly for Tuesday.
Yeah, possibly
as well. In the mix.
I think I still have O'Hare. You could have sort of O'Hare and Hamer's maybe slight attacking midfielders and Kelly sort of more defensive minded maybe. I think it's a good idea.
Mark, the rest of the season it's so early on, but does it look like an uphill climb for Mark Robbins' team? Is it too early to be worrying, or do you think that there's signs that are creeping in? I mean, we've had a lot of unlucky injuries and a lot of people that have been absent. But are you worried as a Coventry supporter about perhaps staying in the division, or do you still feel very confident that we'll stay up?
No, it's still early days. I think,
course.
we're not, we haven't got 5 games left of the season.
No.
We're scrapping.
Thank God.
Yeah, and I think today I feel very demoralised after watching that. It was painful to watch and all the rest of it. But look, it's one game. Let's pick ourselves up for Middlesbrough, and I think. I mean, I feel a bit deflated after that. If I have to be honest,
of course.
but if I'm a player, I can't. You've just got to shrug that one off and move on to the next game. I think Biamu came on and I thought he'd done okay today, and I thought Castagnier put a lot of effort in. There's not a lot of positives, obviously. I mean,
we just got to move on, haven't we?
Yeah,
Mark, brilliant to have you on again this evening, and you've joined us countless times, and we do really appreciate your contribution. And hopefully we'll be speaking to you after the Middlesbrough fixture when we've managed to pick up some points.
Yeah, great to speak to you guys. Speak soon.
Cheers, Mark.
Tom, a lot of the guys that are coming on feel deflated. It was a tough watch, wasn't it? But at the same time, we've got to move on and go towards that next fixture on Tuesday night. A quick turnaround, no time for them to obviously get down in the dumps.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you wind back the clock probably exactly a year ago, we played Rotherham away and we lost 4-0 and we had a player sent off. And I remember feeling very deflated after that game.
Yeah.
And then I think we lost the following weekend against Tranmere and we were thinking, oh God, this is awful. But then we turned a corner very quickly and things looked up again. So, it's football. You're going to get a 4-0 thumping every now and then. It's just what happens. We, even in our best season we've ever had, we had one. So we've just got
against Swansea. We showed some real glimpses, didn't we, of quality, playing at a high tempo. I think we talked on the podcast about that. We were pressing, we were in their face. We actually looked like we wanted to win that second ball, which I think again was a bit lacking today.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just like you say, I thought we were good on Tuesday and we gave it a good fight. I think that sending off just really deflated us. Rose is an important player for us, and it almost deflated the players a bit.
Not the only one that felt deflated, Tom, because Michael switched off at 3-0 and started hoovering and doing housework. I've never done that. His wife is still in shock. So
I think Michael's being a bit dramatic. It wasn't that bad.
To start hoovering. But it's as they say, happy wife, a happy life.
Michael might have a very clean house by the end of this season.
Yeah, if he does that every week, of course. Yeah, I'm going to bring in another guest now, Tom, and I'm hoping I get Colm's name correct. Is that correct, Colm?
Spot on, David. No, thank you. Yeah, good pronunciation. It's a bit of a strange one, so yeah, thank you. Yeah, all good.
What did you think of the red card for Michael Rose today?
I thought I made a couple of comments earlier. I think it's kind of set the tone. I think it was the very first. I think we got a free kick quite early on in the game, and I think it kind of set the tone. I think he tried to switch it out to, I think it was Giles, and he just completely went straight out of play. And I thought it's not great, It just little things like that. I think, but I think the red card, he got caught under it. Obviously didn't anticipate the ball over the top, and it just kind of was one of those afternoons. I think he just wasn't at the races from the very start. Obviously very talented footballer, really, really good centre half, very good on the ball, obviously championship quality, but I think today, it was just so poor, lads. I think, sort of 15 minutes in, you get sent off and then backs to the wall straight away. You're looking at the likes of, I was just a typical sort of Tony Mowbray side, wasn't it? Like, Bradley Johnson, so much experience, and you're kind of looking around at ourselves, and it's just like, O'Hare didn't get a sniff today. Godden, I mean, he has to maybe put that away. Although he's done so well, I think he has to bury that before the red card. I think we're maybe talking about a different game there, but it's just so poor. Disappointing, but again, it's just on to Tuesday, isn't it? We've just got to literally put it to bed.
Yeah, definitely. I think something we talked to Joey about was sort of how isolated Godden was today. I think we said, he was holding the ball up quite well, but he does a lot of really hard work, and then it's such a shame there's not someone there to sort of pick up the ball and then allow Godden to make a run into the box. So yeah, he looks isolated at times, doesn't he?
He does, and again, that's probably why Robin's comments the other night, it was like, works tirelessly, and his man of the match and stuff like that. But we just can't get anybody in and around him. You can kind of see him frustrated at times because he does look isolated, and then obviously when you've got three centre halves like they did today, they kind of swallowed him up at times. But again, he's still creating that chance, that half chance. He's hit the post, and again, O'Hare couldn't get. O'Hare for me was just someone that really was disappointing. Obviously, we've kind of raved on about him all summer. We finally get our man, and it's maybe taking him. I thought the QPR game, obviously in front of the Sky cameras, he was great, but I think today again he just couldn't get going. Allen was brilliant for us last season, but again he just struggled to get into it, and the likes of Holtby and they just bopped it around us today, didn't they?
Do you think it's a case of just it because it's a massive step up, and hopefully throughout the season that we will grow into that? And we just mentioned that we played some tempo play against Swansea, and that looked really good. But sometimes we just look. Just unfortunately, they're fizzing the ball in. I mean, they play the balls into players at such pace. I don't see us doing that often. When we pass our triangles, everything looks a little bit thought out. I don't know if you agree, but it all looks premeditated. Whereas with a lot of the teams we've come up against, especially Bournemouth, and I would say even today and Brentford, is they just pop that ball around, don't they? And it's very hard to get close to them.
It really is, and I think that's again, it's just the beauty of the Championship, isn't it? I think in League One, obviously last season we kind of had maybe a bit more time and space. We could give the ball into the likes of Allen and O'Hare to obviously just take the ball, just get the ball obviously in deep areas and try and make things and create things. But when you've got sort of Championship level footballers, and this is what we're starting to find out now, is that they are sort of in and around us quite quickly. So then we are trying to find an outball and go wide a lot of the time, where Giles is, I think it was you, Tom, that mentioned it, where Giles a lot of the time isn't taking his man on. He's literally just getting the ball out of his feet and whipping it. And when you've got Godden, who's up against obviously the three centre halves, it's very hard for him to actually make things happen, like, and to get on the end of things. Because again, maybe if we do go with the two up top, which I think would probably be good for us Tuesday, and something different, maybe with Hamer's delivery as well, we might be able to get on a few things. But I think Ostergaard is obviously the natural one to come straight back in there. But today was just so, and he must be looking on thinking, I'm so, how he must be thinking, what's going on here? Obviously international footballer, sitting on the bench. I think it's been his third game now in news, thinking what's going on. But at least it gives him a chance maybe Tuesday to maybe prove some of the doubt was wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah. What did you make of Sheaf's performance today? Because I know he had a good game on Tuesday, but perhaps didn't have his best game today.
Sheaf for me is just so, you just don't know what you're going to get with Sheaf. And today I don't think he was at it either again today. A lot of his passing was really poor. I don't know if you guys thought that as well, but just a simple passing, even back to Morosi.
I think across the team today, though, it was a lot of misplaced passes. I think from the start of this Championship, I can't even figure out the number now of the unforced errors that we've made out of the back. We've talked about McFadzean. He's an absolute warrior, so experienced, and obviously a massive figure in the changing room. But he does try to play out from the back, and often today there was a ball that went to Pask, and Pask tried to control it off the pitch, and it was a simple ball, really. It's a pass out to the right hand side. It's just, I think we do make a lot of our own. We do bring a lot of it onto ourselves, the pressure.
We do, and I think that might be. I know a lot of fans kind of calling for Sheaf straight away. Like, I think he might have had one or two bad games, and he was sort of struggling, or just really quiet. But today definitely, I was just sort of watching Sheaf, and it was a bit like he just didn't want the ball in certain situations. Where I think before, like last season, obviously Kelly playing in that role, he'd often just play in front of the back three and just want the ball all the time, get it, turn, spray the ball out wide, and I think Sheaf is trying to find his feet a little bit, obviously, but I think I think it was good, obviously, getting Kelly, but I thought Kelly did okay today.
Do you think we got away with things last season, the style of football that we played? We played it out from the back, and not that many League One teams did that high press. We've seen it, obviously, from Swansea, really quick strikers.
Yeah.
We saw it again today. You saw at one point, McFadzean, Morosi had it in his hands and was looking for someone to roll it out, and he was literally stood next to him in the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
And it's just... With that, you're inviting obviously a lot of pressure. But do you think that we're still trying to play the style of play that Mark Robins wants to, and that's not going to change? But it's just the opposition that we're coming across now is just such a high pressing team and so much quicker that actually we're playing ourselves into trouble. And last season we probably would have got away with a lot of them.
I think you're right, David. Yeah, 100%, 100%. And the thing is as well, I think probably a higher quality of coach and training sessions. They can kind of read what we do a bit better. So because obviously the players are better, we're playing at a better level, there's better coaching. So through the week, obviously a team playing us on Saturday, and a lot of managers we've said sort of after the game have said, Coventry City, very good football inside under Mark Robins, really, really good technically on the ball. They really want to play from the back. So it gives these teams now a higher quality to actually read it better. They can get to us quicker. So all round, I think we're definitely up against it. A better quality of with position and coaching and the rest of it. So we've just got to learn from today, and hopefully the introduction of Hamer might sort of push us on a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you feel about sort of the rest of the season in the Championship? Obviously, we've got 5 points so far, which, if we're being honest, I don't know how many more points we thought we'd have at this stage. How are you feeling about the rest of the season, and do you think we can pick up enough points to kind of stay in the division?
Yeah, I think your Wickhams and sort of your Luton Towns of the world, I think that we've got to be looking at those fixtures. I know it's really early on, but we have to start looking at those fixtures and going, right, we need to win. We need
pressure
to win
on those, though, isn't it?
It is.
Luton, though, have made an incredible start to the season, haven't they? They look like a team that have just been completely galvanised over the summer.
It's the same with Barnsley, really. I mean, Barnsley, I think, went to Stoke, didn't they, in the week, and kind of picked up something there. They were, I think, winning most.
They got a point at Millwall today as well.
So it's the beauty of the Championship. But I think we might have enough. I think we might just have enough. The thing with us is that we are quite sort of stubborn with how we are trying to play, and it worked obviously Tuesday night. For the first maybe 10 minutes today, it worked. Godden's chance, and we got in behind a few times in certain areas. But I think Tuesday night, Middlesbrough, we've got to go there now and actually start to put some points on the board.
Godden wins his fair share, doesn't he, of headers, of course. And we've obviously now got to play that out ball. We do try and play it out from the back, but we've been obviously notably going longer quite often. Do you think that the sort of two up top would give us that, just to try and alleviate pressure? Because we just couldn't get out of our own. I know we were down to 10 men, but we just couldn't get out, could we? And Godden won flick-ons today. And he's flicking them on to perhaps no one, or challenging, and there's no one there to pick up that second ball.
Yeah, well, I think that really worked last season. I think we played Birmingham. I think it was the FA Cup fixture against Birmingham that we actually went two up top. And from obviously just playing with the one up top, he went, I think it was Biamu. Was it Bakayoko and Biamu? Or so I think that really worked. And against these sort of teams, I think we've got to just, at times when we think, we've got loads of time on the ball, we can just, play it into Hyam, into Kelly, turn on it, get it out wide, get it into Godden in the box. I think we need a bit of an outlet. As you say, I think Warcroft is something really, really well. I think he'll get into the channels. He's good in the air. He's good around the box. So I think we just have to go with the two up top now. Just
Tuesday night, what are you saying, Colm? What prediction would you give Sky Blues fans out there? What do you think it's a game that we can get a result from?
I was quietly confident about today, but it's just like typical Sky Blues, just let you down. I'd like to think we can get a point. I'd like to think we'll get a point. So I'll go with a 1-1 draw, lads, and sort of just sit on that fence. But hopefully hopefully they can come good. I definitely think we need to change it up a bit. Today we was just crying out. Godden again just looks so isolated and just so frustrated.
Cuts a bit of a frustrated figure, doesn't he? Yeah. Colm, brilliant for coming on this evening, and we hope to have you on again after a more positive result. But thanks ever so much for your input.
Great stuff. Great show, lads. Thank you.
Yeah, it's again, it seems to be a common theme with our listeners and people that are joining us on the air. And do get your comments in. There's still plenty of time to get them before we wrap up this evening. We want to get as many out there as possible, just so that we can get a bit of a feeling of what the Sky Blues fans think that Mark Robins should do on Tuesday night against another tough Championship side in Middlesbrough. We've got Derek Power. He said, I think we've just got to write this one off. He's absolutely right, Tom. Key players out and then an early sending off. Not sure we'd have lost that game 11v11. We'll just never know, will we?
No, we'll never know. I think he's absolutely right that we have to write it off. There's no point, I'll probably, after this show, probably not point dwelling on it too long. We've got to look at Tuesday. But yeah, I think, we're never going to know. My personal view is that they probably had enough to beat us today, even 11v11, I think. Based on, their second half performance, I thought they were a good side. But we'll never know. So yeah, we can't dwell on it for too long.
And Tim said, persisting with Alan O'Hare seems a bit pointless at the moment. O'Hare was a great impact sub last season till he broke into the squad. Little tweaks like that could just change up a few things and give others a go. If that's the case, Tom, who are you bringing out for O'Hare?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? I mean,
it's been quiet the last couple of fixtures.
Yeah,
hasn't it?
I mean, who else do we have really to play in those roles? I mean, we've got Shipley,
Allen,
we've got
Shipley,
Amer if you play him a bit further forward.
Yeah.
But apart from that, we're not blessed with attacking midfielders, really, are we?
No, we heard that Wes Jabello seems that he's getting back to fitness.
Do you think he's an out-and-out winger, isn't he?
Do you think he could play in that behind that slot?
I don't know really. I mean, I've always thought he's more of an out-and-out winger. I see him as more of a winger that we can bring on to change a game, but I don't know if he fits into a starting lineup.
One name of a man that could sit behind and take the place of O'Hare. I think he means Will Papaga.
Not Ravi Papara.
No. So no. But I do think he's got a great point there, Danny, hasn't he? Like, I think a lot of us were really excited about what we saw from Will in pre-season. Raw, pacey, doesn't really seem to care, plays with that sort of playground tenacity. It could be something that we need, isn't it? And perhaps giving O'Hare something to think about.
Definitely.
A bit of competition.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the opposition he's played against so far, I think he played in the Gillingham game, didn't he, in the Cup? Obviously not the best opposition, but he did look good. Whether he's ready for Championship yet, I'm not sure, but why not try out these things? Again, whether Robins would start him, I'm not sure, but I think I said on a pod a few weeks ago, I think Papaga could be a great option off the bench this season, for sure.
Yeah, sure. And Sky Blues fans, if you haven't visited the Sky Blues Extra website just yet, make sure you do. Every week we put up our match previews, kindly wrote by Matt, and we also do a memory lane. There's some great features in there and some really good reading, getting you excited for the next fixtures. And don't forget, we've just launched our 87 Heroes collection, which saw me wearing that last week, actually, with Cyril Regis. We've got a few more dropping as well soon, so do keep an eye out for them. But Tom, it's a fixture that we really, looking forward to again now on Tuesday. They, like we said, come thick and fast. Godden, for me, looks like he needs someone up front with him. Probably going to be Walker. We hope that we got Shipley back. Ostigard's probably going to come into the fold. If you had everyone fit on the basis of who started so far this season, if the whole squad was fit, starting at defensively, would you make any changes to what Mark Robins started with today? Or would that be your three?
What, for Tuesday specifically, you mean? Like assuming Rose is out or in general?
Genuine, do you think Mark Robins knows his top three defenders? He's been lucky, hasn't he? He's been lucky that he's been forced into not having to settle on a free that is regular because, of course, you've had injuries, international duty.
I think the plan for the season was to play Rose, Ostigard, and Hyam. I think that was the plan. I don't think you'd sign Ostigard from Brighton if he wasn't going to play every week, because I don't think they'd let him go out on loan. Because I think Ben White played almost every game for Leeds last season in the Championship. So I think that was the plan. Obviously, Fad's kind of kept his place and obviously played really well in the first 3 or 4 games. So I think Fad sort of kept his place there. But I think our best three are Ostergaard, Rose, and Hyam. To be honest,
Yeah. Any Norwich fans out there, Tom, looking on at what McCallum's done so far since coming back on loan?
Yeah.
They'd have to be quite happy with that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, on the opposite side as well, of course. So
Yeah.
he looks good. He looks fit. I think we talked about this on the podcast. I think it might have been just me and you talking about it, to be fair. But talking about McCallum and obviously Norwich play their wingers a bit further forward, their wing backs. So he's sort of learned that sort of Norwich style of play where he's got to get really far forward and he's got to beat his man, and that's what he's been doing down the right. To be fair, be interesting to see him back on the left. I think when Dubbo comes back.
Derek would go with McFadz, Hyam, and Ostergaard. So he'd see Rose, who obviously got sent off today, drop out of that.
It's nice to have that fluid four, like you say, that we can interchange. I think, all four are capable on their day. Fads has got a mistake in him, obviously. I think Ostergaard probably hasn't hit the levels that he can hit yet, and he's obviously a very young player.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have the options.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of the fixtures that they come thick and fast of what we've got coming up now. So obviously we go to Middlesbrough on Tuesday night, and then obviously on the Saturday, remind me, Tom.
I believe we on Saturday have Watford.
Sorry to put you on the spot. I'm also.
I think we've got Watford.
My calendar.
I think is it Watford on next Saturday? I'm getting it.
Oh,
now,
of course,
anyway.
we've got the Friday fixture, though, haven't we?
Oh, sorry, it's Reading. It's Reading. Sorry.
Yeah, so we've got the Friday fixture now on Sky. I believe Tuesday night is Red Button as well, possibly.
Tuesday will be Red Button, Middlesbrough. Then it's Reading on the Sky cameras. Again, Reading are flying at the top of the league, so a team that will probably fall away at some point. People would imagine, but they're flying at the moment. So I guess we just got to hope that ours is the game where they start to fall away.
Yeah, of course. And then after that Reading fixture, I'm trying to think who we've got. I was going to get some predictive points, you see, from the next three fixtures.
Yeah. Well, we've got Forest on the following Wednesday.
Okay.
So again, like they don't only come thick and fast. They don't get any easier, Dave.
No, they don't. Forest would be the team that, on form, you'd say would be probably the likeliest that we could get a result from. But it is away from home, isn't it, that fixture?
It's away from home, but. Again, I don't know, how did they get on today? Because I know they
drew
won
on Friday night against Derby. So
yeah, that's right.
Who Derby, of course, haven't shown probably the heights that they expected, and were probably doing under Frank Lampard in most recent years. But yeah, tough fixture. I think we may be struggling to pick up points from those next three. Sheffield Wednesday, of course, are chomping at the bottom of that points deduction that they have, of course. And some teams have made some really surprise starts. Teams like Luton, Colm kindly mentioned Barnsley as well, and we've played some tough teams, haven't we?
It's tough, and like I'm looking at the fixtures now. I mean, so November, for example, we got Forest away, Watford away, Birmingham at home. Obviously, a bit of a strange home fixture. Cardiff at home and Norwich away. Now, apart from Birmingham at home, which is actually at their home, so it's kind of away. There's not really a game there that stands out where it's we can get 3 points. Maybe Cardiff, possibly. That's tough.
Of course.
But then
that shows the gulf, doesn't it? I think the reality is starting to sink in for us about. Of course, we did the pre-season fixture list preview, and that's on YouTube, and a lot of our videos on YouTube. Do go and check them out and make sure you subscribe, of course. But we did speak on that video about potentially just how hard the fixture list and how busy it is, and Mark Robbins' squad's starting to get a bit more depleted as well.
Yeah, it's relentless, but we probably haven't played our strongest 11 yet in even in one game, let alone stringing a few games together. So it's going to take a little while to gel. And I've just flicked over to December. December games look a lot better for us, but then the pressure's on, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you ever think that you'd see Biamu, Castaneer, Pask, players like that on the Championship bench as a collective?
Yeah, I mean, it's where we are as a club, isn't it? I mean, we signed some players in the summer to be starting for us, and we don't have the deep pockets, unfortunately, to have players of the same standard on the bench. So yeah, you're always going to have 4 strikers, and it was always a case of sign one, and Baka and Biamu would be the sort of other 2.
Yeah.
So I think that's just where we are as a club, really. We
Yeah.
can't afford to have loads of a massive, really good squad. But I'm probably a little bit disappointed with Pass, because I think we signed him from West Ham, didn't we? I think, and he was meant to be. He was a promising young player. He still is a promising young player, but someone who perhaps hasn't quite hit the levels. He didn't obviously feature that much last season. I think he was injured quite a lot of last season towards the start, anyway. But perhaps Championship again. He's the club's moved forward very quickly, and we've talked about players like Shipley as well. The club's moving so quickly that some of these players aren't have signed in League One, and now we're a Championship club. So
yeah, of course, and that's credit to the players, really. In fact, their own careers, that they've been able to make those jumps and make that step, and I think Shipley definitely on Tuesday night, before unfortunately injured, showed that actually he was more than capable of playing a major role this season.
Yeah, and he's got a finish on him as well. I mean, I don't remember Alan scoring for us. He probably has at some point. O'Hare's not scored many for us, and not many like that anyway.
I think, was it? Or
that was it. Yeah, well worked goal. But I mean, yeah, Shipley has got that in him. I'm thinking of like Doncaster away when he's rifled one from like 25 yards out into the bottom corner.
Yeah,
he's got that in
him.
him.
Had a chance today, Tom. So it came over to him in the box, and actually he was pretty much on his own. We were losing, but just, do you think that is a team that are worried about not making mistakes, but feel already like a lot of weight is on them? Or do you think that it's just it's one of them? He probably doesn't find himself in those positions all the time, to be fair. So
it's probably a bit of both, to be fair. It's probably a bit of both. We know what it's like playing football. It's a confidence game. When we're winning every week last year, it's chances like that we're burying them, and we just feel very confident every week. But when you haven't won for, I don't know how long we haven't won now for, probably a few weeks now, confidence is going to be low. But we're only one good result away from feeling great again. Even a point at Middlesbrough would be a good result. It would be a good result if we play well and get a point and we score a decent goal or something. It sounds like it is a struggle, obviously, in the Championship, but
it is. The reality is that it is. There's comments that we've seen coming through thick and fast about how much of a gulf in class and budget and all of those things that we spoke about at the start of the season. And look at Wycombe. It could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. Don't get me wrong. We were streets ahead of a lot of teams in League One last season, and on our fixtures, Wycombe was certainly one of them. But they found life in a Championship very, very tough. I'm not sure how they got on today. I had a chance to see that.
I think they lost not to Norwich, but narrowly. I think it was 2-1. So again, they're probably having similar conversations, saying 2-1 away at Norwich isn't the worst result in the world, but still no points to show for it.
Yeah,
but I mean, people mention us having the lowest budget in the league. Or whatever. I'm not sure if that's strictly true, whether Wycombe's is lower, but
it's probably a fair assessment. It will be around.
We're going to be in the bottom 3 for sure. I think we've probably done about as well as we can with the budget we've got.
Yeah.
I mean, to go and sign, players like Hamer for just over $1 million.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Walker
great
was.
Talent. Looking forward to him coming back Tuesday night.
Yeah, I mean, and we're still signing young players. We're bringing players through. Like, I still think McCallum back on loan is a brilliant piece of business.
Yeah.
To have got the money in the bank and have him playing for us, I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
So we're probably just about doing the best we can with the resources we've got, and that's just unfortunately where we are as a club. We've got to build sustainably. We can't go out and buy someone for £5 million, and we won't be able to for another few years yet. But we've got to build slowly. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And listeners and followers of the channels, do make sure you listen to the Sky Blues Extra podcast. And if you want to feature in this week's, you just need to tweet us using the hashtag Sky Blues Extra Podcast. We'll make sure we get as many comments in as we can about today's fixture. I'm not sure we'll concentrate too long on that fixture, and we're probably looking ahead mainly to Middlesbrough. But do make sure that you listen to that. It's available on Spotify, iTunes, Google, and many more platforms. And Tom, it just leaves me to say that an unfortunate result, not the one that the Sky Blues fans wanted today. A red card early on probably sealed our fate very, very early. One to move on from, but the fixtures are coming thick and fast, and a tough fixture, but a chance of redemption on Tuesday night.
Yeah. I think I'd just echo what Joey said earlier. Let's go to Middlesbrough full of confidence. Let's go at them. If we lose, we lose. If we get a point, we get a point. If we can nick a win, we'll be absolutely buzzing, and Blackburn would be a distant memory.